This is Ashley. Welcome back to my channel. So during the Sephora VIB sale, I decided to pick up one or two more things, and I decided to pick up something that had been on my makeup wish list for a very long time. I decided to pick up the Natasha Denona Lila Palette. Now this palette's been out forever, so like I said, it is on my makeup wish list, and I decided to pick it up during the sale because, you know, you get a little 20% off because I'm Rouge. So I absolutely love the packaging. I love how it's leather. I love how it's metallic purple. And then once you open it up, you can refamiliarize with yourself with the color story. This is what it looks like. So today I will present to you 5 different looks using this palette. So like I said, this palette has been out forever. It is $125. I want to say at this point, this palette released maybe in 2016, I want to say. And at that time, I really wasn't into Natasha Denona. I don't even think I was really even into Pat McGrath at that time. And I just could not fathom spending $125 on an eyeshadow palette, which still sounds crazy to this day. But I wanted to come on and give you guys 5 looks so you can guys see some inspiration that I drew with using this palette. Not to mention, you know, just give yourself some inspiration on different looks you can create if you already have this palette, or maybe this is something that was on your makeup wish list and you're just trying to figure out if you would like it also. So like I said, again, I have 5 looks. I'm going to go ahead and insert some swatches, and then we'll talk about a little bit about the palette at the end, because like I said, it's not a review. We're just here, we're playing with makeup, and we're having fun. Let's go ahead and get started. My eyelid is primed using my Too Faced Multi-Sculpting Concealer. This is the shade Butterscotch, and I do like to use this for the purpose of my videos, especially when I'm creating so many looks, but I actually prefer actual eye primer, which is the Urban Decay primer potion. I use the shade Caffeine, which is basically the same shade as this. So what's nice about this palette, if you really don't know what to do, everything is basically like in quads or little rolls of ideas you can do. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start with my Wayne number 16 brush, and I am going to pick up the first shade, which is called Nude Vino, which is right here. And I have used this palette once, and I was very impressed with the performance of it. I had no problem blending my shadows in or anything like that. It's just true to form, as you would know a Natasha Denona palette to be. I did kind of like a smoky purple look. I think I'll recreate that look for you guys right now. It was a little bit smokier than I intended it to be. And these shadows are so smooth. Like, it doesn't even look like I dipped into this palette at all. So I am laying down that shade of Nude Vino right now. And as you can see, it's a nice brown tone shade. So I really consider this palette to be, you know, a neutral palette. It's kind of neutral. One half of it's very neutral, and the other half of it is a little purple, a little dusky rose with some magenta in it. Just how you see yourself using it. And I'm just going to blend it, make it a little darker right in there. Taking my Rephr 01 brush, I'm going to go in with the shade called Layla. This is Layla right here. And I am going to pat her on the outer V. I think this is a nice chocolatey. It's not a chocolate brown per se, but it has some slate gray. It's a little chocolatey tone. Even though it's a satin, it blends out very nice. Look, don't even have to worry. Look how effortless you can blend this up. Now, when I wore this look to work, it was a little bit lighter, but I'm kind of take it there with the look. So that goes on really, really nicely. Going in with my Sonia G, this is the Builder Pro. I'm going to go take the shade called Viola. This is her right here. This pretty purple shade. This is one of our more true purple shades in the palette. Just packed it on the brush right there. And now I'm just going to kind of pack it next to that first shade that we laid down in the inner corner. And I like how you do get a little bit of a multi-chrome shift with this shade. So, and then when you blend it in with that other shade, which is called Layla, it is nice. Only thing that's gonna like drive me crazy about this palette, just from like basically a purpose of telling you guys the names, is this little, then just wipe that brush off in my makeup towel, I'm going in with a little bit of the shade Magnetic. And I'm just going to put this more towards the inner corner of the eye so it fades into that pink, from that purple into pink, kind of let it meet in the crease. And once again, I wiped that brush off, topped it off with a little bit of the shade Genou, which is the white duochrome, kind of white pale plum duochrome shade. And I just kind of pop that in the inner corner to give it a little bit of lightness. And voila, this is basically look 1. I'm going to go back in with Rephr number 1 and kind of take it on the side and just blend this up and over a little bit, extending that first shade for our depth. And I forgot to say this before, I do have on my face makeup from earlier. I filmed another video, but I'll leave those face details down below. But this is the look so far. We're gonna go ahead and jump onto the other look, and then I'll put some lashes on and liner. Once again, I have my eyelid prime using that same concealer. I'm gonna go in with my Sonia G. This is the Builder Pro. I've wiped it off in my little makeup towel. I'm gonna go in with this rich, deep jewel tone purple, and this is Amethyst. This is one of the darker purples in the palette, other than that first shade that we used on that outer corner. And I'm just gonna start by placing this all over the lid. Now this is like a blue purple, and I think this shade is absolutely gorgeous. And look at the color payoff you get. Oh, that is gorgeous. And it does have a little bit of a duochrome shift to it. And I'm just kind of packing it all over the eye. I'm not going to go into this little inner corner just yet. And I'm just laying this all over the eye. And kind of taking it up into the crease. And look at the, you see, like the purple and the blue base coming out. This shade is absolutely gorgeous. At one point I did own the mini Lila, and there was a shade that was in there, and it was sort of similar to this, and that was like my favorite shade in the mini Lila. With the Sonia G Classic Crease Brush, I'm going to go in with this gray mauve matte. My lights might be making it a little bright right there. And that is the shade called Per Se. And I'm just going to dip right in and kind of blend this amethyst shade out. Blend out the edges, and you see some of that blue pigment just kind of peeking out. And I'm just doing that all in basically the transition shade. And I love like kind of how it goes from like gray mauve to kind of blue to really where you really see that amethyst shade. And I'm just kind of feathering it out to a little bit of a point. Now I will go in with that Classic Crease Brush, pick up the shade Amethyst right here, and I will use that to have a little bit more of definition of that shade in the crease. Oh man. This is very pretty, very simple, blown out look. You don't have to do much. It's very blueberry. And then in the inner corner, we're gonna pop in with a little bit of the shade called Live It. This is Live It right here. And we're just gonna put a little bit that in the inner corner, just to give it a little brightness and a little shine, and voila. Now I'm gonna go ahead and do some liner and put on some lashes and be right back. Okay, so I'm back. I added my lashes. These are the Kiss Ritzy lashes. And for this eye that is a little bit more berry, I decided to go in with the Pat McGrath Blitz Blue, just so you can kind of see more of the blue and bring it out with that particular shadow, because it has such a nice, gorgeous shift to it. I think it is so beautiful. And the great thing about these metallics, they're a nice satin metallic, where it does allow you to blend it out like this one, and basically this one very easily in the crease. And this is what this eye is looking like, very magenta pinky, with also a nice duochrome shift and a little bit of smoke on the corners. So here are those two looks, and we're going to go ahead and jump into some more. I'm really digging them. I think they came out very beautiful. This one by far at the moment is my favorite. I'm here for it. Alright, I'm back. Eyelids reprime using that same concealer as before. Jumping in, Wayne Goss number 16, going in with the shade Amara. I'm going to go ahead and kind of explore some of the more neutral capabilities of the palette. So this is basically a good kind of brick brown shade. So we're just going to throw this in the transition shade, in the transition area rather. I'm just going to blend it back and forth using some windshield wiper motions. As you can see, that shade is pretty pigmented, so be careful when you lay it down. But it will blend out. As you see, I had it kind of globbed in one spot. And I'm just going to blend this back and forth to my desire. Going in with the Sonia G Worker Pro, I'm still going to stick with that same shade, and now I'm just going to pack it into the outer corner like so, just to add a little depth, smoke it out. Going in Sonia G, this is my Builder Pro. I have wiped it off in my makeup towel. I'm going to go in with this shade called Dragon Bite, which is right here. It appears to be kind of like a blue purplish brown, and I'm just going to sweep this, yes it is, across the eye. But you know what, purples and greens go very well together, but you can see how you can get a very subtle neutral eye out of this palette. It's like a blue brown shade that we're kind of accustomed to, but I want to say it has a little bit more red tone to it. I have that brown right there, and it's not such a deep brown, but I do want to explore the possibility of putting, oh, let me not put my finger in the palette. I do want to explore the possibility of putting just a little bit of Lila in there just to give it a little bit more depth. I'm just going to take that Builder Pro by Sonia G, because this is a duochrome. And we're just going to lightly build it up. And it does kind of make the other shade, which is Dragon Bite, a little bit deeper. You definitely see the base of that coming out. You see how much darker it's getting. So it just kind of transforms it. It's just kind of nice to know. So now you get a more variety of looks. I'm going to wipe off my Sonia G Classic Crease and just kind of blend that at the top. Oh, that is actually really cool how that shadow transforms. I'm just going to kind of feather it up on this side, and when it catches the light, so you get a natural progression, because that shade Layla definitely brought out the undertones and that duochrome shift and made it deeper. So now we have like a whole new look with that palette. So I'm just going to take a little bit more with that Classic Crease, pick up that shade Layla, and just kind of feather it up just a little bit more, just to meet the shape of my eye, so I don't have any droopy lid action. Going back in, that is the Rephr P07. Actually, I don't even think I used that. I'm going back in with my Wayne Goss number 16 with that first shade Amara. Then I'm going to kind of feather out that and add that color back in. And that is really pretty. And I really like how that shade paired together. It didn't make it really darker, but it really intensified the other shade. So you still got that duochrome progression. All right, I wiped off my number 16 Wayne Goss brush really well. Going in with this shade called Mauve Nude, which is right here. And I'm going to put this all in the transition area. Oh, that is a very nice color. And it's mauve, like it says. And I'm just going to throw this in the transition. Now that I have that first shade down, I'm going to go ahead and take my Sonia G. This is the Builder Pro, going in with the shade Cyclone, which, if you know me, that is a color straight up my alley. And I'm going to pack it in the center. Now this is more Okay, this is more, is this what, okay, I should have looked. Yeah, it's a duochrome, okay. But it's a little bit more sheer. I was trying to figure out if it was one of her Chroma Crystal formulas, but it doesn't say that. I didn't realize that this shade was so sheer. But let's see if we can kind of wet it and build it up in intensity. It's actually really pretty. And just went ahead and wet the brush using some setting spray. That's the Urban Decay All Nighter setting spray. And I'm just gonna kind of put this on the first half of the eye. So what I did was I just wiped off that same Builder Pro brush. I'm gonna go in with the shade Voila. Right here, this purple shade, it's more true of a purple shade that's in the palette. And we're going to put this on the outer. And I'm just gonna pack that on and then kind of feather it up. And then I'll blend that out in the crease in just a second. Right now, I just wanna pack the color on. Okay, and so because I didn't realize how sheer that first shade was, the Cyclone, I'm gonna go in with the shade of Helio, and this is more of one of her metallics right here. It's down at the bottom, and we're gonna kind of pack that on. So it's kind of gonna change up the effect of the eyeshadow, but they're still kind of complementary colors, and then I'll pack that other shade over it, and we'll make it do what it do, okay? Because sometimes this is how your best looks come out. You're like, oh, okay, me trying to save it. This is what happened. And I'm layering. Oh, when you layer the two over, it does give a nice effect. I do have a tiny bit of fallout. Going in with the Sonia G Classic Crease. I'm just going to kind of blend that out and feather that shade Viola out so it's not so harsh. And I'm just kind of going across the whole eye. Changing brushes to a Rephr P21, more of like a concealer type brush. I'm going to go back in with that shade Cyclone, because it was a more of a Chroma Crystal formulation. And this will pick up those type of shadows a lot better. And I will pop that into the eye. And that makes it shine so much better, as we can see in that inner corner. And we can get the true beauty of that shadow. And I'm just layering over that shade Helio. Going in with the Rephr 01, going to take our only deepest shade in the palette, which is Layla. That deep shade I used on the other side to build up definition. And I'm just going to pack a little in here, just to give a little bit more definition. And the colors, they shift so nicely, even when you layer these colors on here. So, you know, that's something that you don't really have to worry about. You don't have to worry about it actually coming too muddy. It'll be okay. You know what I mean? And I'm just packing more Layla right in there. Sonia G Classic Crease, and just kind of blend that all on out. And then once I clean it up underneath there, come back with some lashes. All right, back once again, added those same Ritzy lashes by Kiss. And I just love how both of these looks came out. They're very different, and it shows the versatility of this palette, and it really shows the versatility of that very deep shade called Layla, because it is such a transformative shade. I mean, it looks very dark, very intimidating, but if you mix it in with the lighter color, you can just kind of deepen up that. This one, it really intensifies the under pigments of that shade Dragon Bites by just really adding the definition to that shade without really altering that shade. And it doesn't really look like, you know, you added on a black with these shades. So I really do appreciate, you know, the blendability of these shadows and how they all layer on top of each other and give such a different look. So let's go ahead and jump into one more final look. All right, I'm back for the final look. I started doing the look and didn't realize I was recording. So I'm going in with my Wayne number 16 brush, and I'm taking that shade Per Se, which was this gray mauve tone matte right here. And I'm just running it back and forth in the crease. And I was literally about to pick up some more and realize that I was not. Now going in with the Sonia G Worker Pro, I'm going to take the shade Amethyst, and I'm going to start building that up in the outer area of the eye, or the outer V, whatever you want to call it. I'm just going to start packing that on first. And I just love how rich of a color this palette is. And I'm going to lightly just start buffing it or kind of feathering and placing the color into the crease and up towards that brow bone. And just bringing it over like so. And I'm just going to pick up a little bit more, tap it right here in my skin fold area. Now with my Sonia G, this is the Builder Pro, going in with the shade Pur. It sounds weird. It's like Pure. These names are a little obscure, but I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pack this right here on the inner. And I think this is like one of the few shades that we have not used. And if you notice, I have not wet any of these metallics since we've been doing the looks, but I think I do want to try wetting this metallic. I just want to see how it plays. This is really pretty. So I have some packed on the brush right here. I'm going to go in with that Urban Decay All Nighter Setting Spray. Give the brush a good little spritz, and let's see. And it just brings out a little bit more intensity. It doesn't really foil the shadow, so I think wetting these don't really make a difference, to be honest. Going in Sonia G Classic Crease, you already know the drill. We gotta blend this out so we don't have all these harsh lines. So I'm gonna pick up a little bit more of Amethyst and just help it with the blend so we don't just make it disappear. You see some more of the blue / purple. Going in with the Sonia G, this is the flat definer brush. I'm going to take the shade Layla, which is that deepening shade, that dark berry tone, black, brown shade. I'm just going to run this lightly underneath the eyes. And then with that same flat definer brush, I'm going to go in with that shade Magnolia, which is that last shade that we have not used. That's the last shade. The palette is a little bit more of a gold shade, and we're gonna see, I'm gonna kind of pop that underneath here. Just for a little pop. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and add some liner and lashes, and I'll be right back. Okay, I am back, and this is the 5th and final look, and I hope you guys like it. I added on those same Kiss Ritzy lashes again, and I just really like how all the looks came out. This palette was very easy to use, and all the shadows blended itself effortlessly. As you see, I didn't struggle with anything. I think the only shadow that I kind of just didn't really grasp it at first until I changed my brush into like that more concealer type brush. That was that Rephr P21 brush that you saw me go in with, was the shade called Cyclone, because it's more of a topper shade and it's a little bit more crystallized in formulation. But once you kind of wet it and use the same brush, you can get a lot of pigment behind it. I think that this color story is curated beautifully. Now, I wouldn't say that this is a total purple palette, but it's very purple, magenta inspired. And you have a lot of color combinations. So even if you can't think of like looks to do, you have a lot of quads that you can kind of work with that are set up within this palette. So you got one right here, here, yeah, here. And you can definitely get very neutral looks, or you can go very pink, or you can kind of go a little bit more blurple, purple type of look right there. You can do smoky or light looks. So I really do like the versatility of this palette. I used all the shades when we did these 5 looks, so everything worked tremendously well. And I would say that 2 of my favorite shades would be the shade Layla and the shade Amethyst. I love how those 2 shades perform. I mean, this the blue base that is like the ultimate blurple shade. And then I love how you can put Layla down and intensify a lot of the shades without it getting muddy, not really always altering the look, where it just does not look like where you added a black to it, but it kind of just maybe deepened the shadow that you put on, especially when we added the shade, what was this, Dragon Bite? I mean, it just really brought out the pigment that is in the shadow. So you could definitely see the more of a duochrome shift where we went from darker to light, and you can see the shifting between that red green vibe. And then I like that the shade is kind of in here, even though we do tend to see that shade a lot, but it does give it a different vibe within this palette. And green does actually pair very nice with purple. I would say that we kind of do need a more of a purple shade in this palette because everything pulls so magenta, even though this looks purple. It has a duochrome element to it. And so does this. So it kind of looks like this shade right here. But overall, all the mattes perform well. These metallics perform well. So you don't even have to worry about like this is a metallic shade right here. It will blend out in the crease effortlessly. And I'm just really glad I picked up this palette, and I'm glad it worked out considering it was something on my makeup wish list. And I didn't want it to be a fail because even though I got it on the sale, it is still an expensive palette. But this palette is beautiful, and I hope you guys were able to just draw some inspiration and pull out your palette and think of some other looks that you could create with this palette that maybe you haven't thought of. Or maybe you were looking to get this palette and it was on your wish list and you're like, okay, well now I really do want to dive in. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope you enjoyed the 5 looks. So my favorite of the 5 looks was definitely the all blurple look right here. And then I also love the look that we had with the green duochrome red, that red brown shadow, the dragon bite. I really enjoyed that. And then I also love that how we had the cyclone, which was that coppery into that purple look also. So overall, I hope you guys really enjoyed the looks. Let me know down below what were your favorite looks, and give this video a big thumbs up. Also, let me know if you've had this palette, if you like the palette, your thoughts on the palette. Let's chat down below. Please remember to subscribe to my channel because you know I would love to have you here in my little makeup family. And with that being said, you already know what time it is. It is time for the chair dance. Hey, chair dance. Chair dance. Chair dance. Chair dance. Chair dance. All right, y'all. Bye.